What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be discussing an article that recently came out suggesting that the Chicago Bulls, I guess, won't necessarily have an exciting time during this trade period, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of the day, there's still quite a ways to go before the trade deadline and before we get moves done, or maybe we get no moves done. We don't really know. But with that being said, it looks like articles are suggesting that the Bulls are in a tough position and that things may not happen the way that we want them to happen and stuff of that nature. I want to discuss it in this video. But before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts about these Chicago Bulls and what do you see the trade deadline looking like for the Bulls? Is it going to be a busy one where multiple things happen, multiple trades get done, and we finally have that new team and establishment that we're trying to make? Or do you see this being a thing where we're trying maybe, but we can't get anything over the line? We're not necessarily doing anything in the trade deadline, and we're going to end up leaving empty-handed for the second year in a row when it comes to a trade deadline. So, basically, the reason why this article exists is it basically says that the Chicago Bulls have no clear cut, this is going to happen, this is what we're going to do, this is what we want to do, and we will make it happen by the trade deadline. And therefore, because there is no clear structure for the Chicago Bulls, that means that there's a good chance that the Bulls may be sitting out this trade deadline because they might not be able to get anything over the line. Or, you know, surprises can happen and maybe something does happen. But ultimately, do not expect a big trade deadline. Do not expect the most fun, entertaining, life-changing, career-changing, anything changing Chicago Bulls team in the trade deadline. Don't expect that. That's basically what the article is suggesting. And it's a bit interesting, I'll tell you that much. So, look, I personally, this is just me, I don't have any inside sources. I don't know anybody that can back me up or can debunk me on this. But I personally think the Chicago Bulls do have a clear structure and a clear plan going into the trade deadline. And it's been the same thing as it has been for a while. It is to trade the veterans on this team. It's to trade Nikola Vucevic. It's to trade Zach LaVine. Last season spoke volumes to what was happening with Zach LaVine and his agent speaking about moves and how Zach LaVine underwent surgery once he was about to move to Detroit. To Nikola Vucevic, basically saying that this is the last chance before big changes have to happen, and his name was thrown into the picture right in there as well. So both guys that we were linked to trading in the summer, linked to trading, I guess, in the free agency period, ultimately, I still believe are the two guys that we want to trade in the trade deadline. And I think that is this plan. That is the clear-cut plan the Bulls are going to have to go after. However, as clear-cut as it may be, no one said that plan was going to be easy. And at the end of the day, there is a chance, even though both of them are playing well this season, that that plan may not be possible. At the end of the day, I am in the firm belief that the Chicago Bulls need to find assets in return for these guys. As much as we want to quickly get this rebuild started and we want to trade LaVine and Vucevic to make sure we get the young guys all ready to go for a rebuild, I don't want to lose assets for even worse assets, or in fact, I don't want to lose a big asset for no assets. It's as simple as that. And so far, that's all the rumors have been about Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic. When you trade both of them separately, maybe if you pair them together, you might be able to get something. I don't think anyone's going to want them together. But regardless, you trade Zach LaVine, the rumors are you're not going to get that much in return. You trade Nikola Vucevic, the rumors are you're not going to get that much in return. So, yeah, this plan may be clear-cut, but it may not be easy to execute. So I guess in that way, maybe it isn't as clear-cut as, I guess, what I probably said. But I think it's an easy thing to think about. It's an easy thing to want to do, but it's going to be hard to execute in all reality. And that's where the Chicago Bulls are right now. So with that being said, does that mean the Chicago Bulls are going to sit tight in this trade deadline? Does that mean the Bulls are going to stand put? They're going to say enough is enough. We're not getting what we want in return for these guys. We're not going to trade anybody. We're going to have another year of stagnation, and we're going to have another year of not pulling the trigger when we need to, and all this stuff. Well, on one hand, there could be a possibility. If the Bulls don't want to lose assets for nothing, maybe they do have to stick around with them even longer. But the way that I see it, there's still a lot that needs to be said. There's still a lot of story left untold when it comes to both those two players individually and the Chicago Bulls as a whole. For instance, right now, we are one of the best offensive teams in the league. And teams are going to start taking note of that. And when teams start to analyze how the Chicago Bulls got to the point where last season they were one of the worst offensive teams in the league, to this year being one of the best offensive teams in the league, they're going to start looking at our players. And they're going to start looking at Nikola Vucevic. And they're going to start looking at his efficiency this season compared to last. And they're going to look at how confident he has been inside the paint compared to last. And the teams might take note of that. They're going to look at Zach LaVine. They're going to look at Zach LaVine, and when he's not scoring, he's playmaking. And when he's not playmaking, he's definitely scoring. He is our leading scorer for the Chicago Bulls this season, if I'm not mistaken, and his efficiency has been very, very good. Zach LaVine has been great this season. So teams will start to look at that. Whether or not it means something in the long term, no one can predict. Because at the end of the day, there are 29 other teams in the league, and all of them are going to think differently. So let's just say, hypothetically, the Golden State Warriors, they might look at Zach LaVine and say, you know what? We could use Zach LaVine. His efficiency has gone up. He could work in our system, and they might decide to throw assets in return to get a Zach LaVine. Whereas a team like Sacramento, for example, who's been interested in Zach LaVine for a while, recently got DeMar DeRozan, might not feel that interested in Zach LaVine and think that his stats and his I guess, efficiency, whatever cards they want to pull out of the table, is completely worthless. 29 different teams with 29 different opinions. So I don't think any article or any person, any analysts in the world can fully, truly predict what the Chicago Bulls are going to do with Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic and what other teams are thinking about Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic. You can have your vague ideas. Maybe the majority of them think alike, but there could be that one team that will think differently, that one team that's willing to do the risk, the one team that might be willing to take a chance. And that's the team that we need to get. It's as simple as that. That's the team that we need to find. And I think there could potentially be a team out there. But, yeah, I don't necessarily think the Bulls are stuck or anything like that. I don't think the Bulls are going to be in a position where it's all or nothing with those two. At the end of the day, Vucevic has, I think, 2 years left on his deal, if I'm not mistaken. Zach LaVine has 4 years left on his deal. Like, it's a long time. At the end of the day, maybe it's not this season. Maybe it is next season. I don't know. But I do think at some point, especially if they're playing like this for the rest of the season, a team is going to find their interest. And it could be out of desperation. It could be out of pure, I'm willing to take a chance. These guys are playing well. Maybe they could play well for our team. Maybe it's one of those things. I don't know. But, yeah, there is a chance that the Bulls could, I guess, be concerned, could be upset, could be worried about this trade deadline. I think every season from here on out, pretty much from last season to this season and future seasons, everybody has a right to be concerned and worried because AK and the Bulls sometimes don't do nothing. They just sit there on their thumbs, you know, ain't willing to make a call, ain't willing to do nothing. And that just seems to be what it is sometimes. I don't know. That's what happened last season. We made no trade. So I can't sit here and say we're going to make a trade this season. But I'm also not worried about it now because there's still a lot of season to be played and there's still a lot of opinions that can be changed. So we need to just keep on playing. Zach needs to play well. Vooch needs to play well. Both of them need to play well together. And the Bulls need to keep on fighting in these games. And maybe something can happen in that regard. It is what it is. But what do you guys think? Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care. And peace.